First of all, I would like to commend counsel for the defendant. He has done as he said he would do in introducing evidence to this court which would indicate mitigating circumstances, and he has been most persuasive. I have considered these and other contributory factors. The court accepts that the deceased did attack the defendant, causing her actual bodily harm. However, it would seem from the evidence presented to this court that the deceased was greatly provoked by the actions of the defendant in attempting to usurp her activities. In consideration of all these facts, I feel I must impose a somewhat heavier sentence than that called for by the defense. Elizabeth Josephine Birdsworth, I sentence you to 5 years imprisonment with a non-parole period of 3 years, this sentence to be served concurrently with existing sentences. This court is adjourned.
Not long to go now.
No, not long.
Have you got the warrant? 5 years. Surely you must have expected it. You're hardly likely to find the judge lenient in a case like this.
Haven't you got any sympathy in you?
As much as anyone.
You keep it well hidden.
Sympathy's wasted on people like you. Face it, you'll die a criminal.
And you'll probably get satisfaction watching.
What?
I'm too old now. The only way I'm ever going to get out of here now, be inside a box.
Come on, Birdsworth. Until the end of work, Bill. It's too late to go back to the laundry now. Then you can do the meal trolley duty for dinner.
Oh, Vera, look, I want...
Wentworth's back.
How did she go?
5 years.
Good Lord, was the judge mad or something? It wasn't premeditated murder.
There's no proof that it wasn't.
Well, there's no proof that it was anything else either. Now, Kay White might have been a nasty piece of work, but I don't think Lizzie's the type to want to deliberately kill her or anyone else for that matter.
Well, obviously the judge thought she would.
Yeah, well, even if it was intentional, 5 years at her age is a hell of a stiff sentence.
Look, she killed Kay White. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going home.
No, you're not.
Well, I finished my shift.
Connie Barfield rang in. She's running late. We'll have to work back until after dinner.
But I've arranged to go
Look, until Meg gets back, Vera, we all have to pull our weight.
Why wasn't I warned?
The sooner you get them to dinner, the sooner you can go.
Lizzie, I thought she'd be back hours ago.
Yeah, the jury probably knocked off for afternoon smoke,
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. Hey, Lizzie, what are you doing hiding in here by yourself? We thought you'd come straight down the laundry and tell us how it... Lizzie, what's wrong?
5 years.
What?
5 bloody years.
Oh, you can't be serious. But, Lizzie, that's insane. You got to appeal.
No.
Lizzie, you got to.
No, I can't. If it gets dragged any more through the courts, they might dig out the truth, and that's going to make it worse for Linda.
Yeah, but 5 years.
Linda will get a bloody sight more than that. And she's got her kid to think about.
What about you, though?
I'll be all right. Besides, if they do get to the truth, you and all the others will be done for perjury, and that's going to make it worse for everyone.
Birdsworth, you're supposed to be in the kitchen on trolley duty. You were told to stay in your cell.
Listen, now, you talk to Biz. She might have some advice for you.
Come on, Birdsworth, move.
Oh, lay off her, Vera.
If you open your mouth once more, Bryant, you'll find yourself on loss of privileges.
There is no tried and true or universal method for the handling of children. For all children, like all adults, are different and will react differently and individually in any given situation.
Yeah, well, it stands to reason, doesn't it? I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem. Because all the people who write these books, well, they all say something different. At least that's the way I see it.
Yeah, well, what would they know? I mean, they're probably just a bunch of dried-up old fogies anyway.
Yeah, but they've had kids themselves.
Yeah, and how long ago?
Oh, well, look, no one can tell you how to bring up your own kids, Doreen.
Yeah, but what they're trying to give you is guidelines.
Oh, look, it's all rubbish. I mean, look, some reckon smack 'em, some reckon don't smack 'em. I mean, who'd want to smack a little baby anyway?
Well, some people do. Look at baby bashers.
Oh, shut up, Doreen. We're not baby bashers. I wouldn't bash my little Noel, would I, sweetheart?
There's no need to be so tough on her, Jane.
Oh, I told you yesterday, she's driving me nutty.
Well, be patient. She'll get over it.
Yeah, well, she'd better, I tell you.
Well, how would you feel?
Oh, pretty rotten, I guess. But, she's not the only person in the world that's ever had a miscarriage.
Oh, of course not. It's just that she's feeling all motherly, that's all.
Okay, you're breaking my heart. So I'll try and be a bit more patient.
That's not fair. What about that Jones bitch? Surely she should have owned up to it.
Don't go on about it, Dor. There isn't any point.
Geez, no point. 5 years, I reckon's enough to go on about.
Dor. Shut up about it. I said I'd cop it, and I will. Now, you keep your trap shut. If you go lagging, everybody who's given evidence will get done for lying in the court. There's been more than enough trouble about the whole business already.
Oh, Lizzie, you can't.
Dor, it's final. I reckon I know what I'm doing. The only thing I'm sorry about is that I'm not coming out with you. Oh.
Hello, Vera. Nice to see you. Come on in.
I just called round to see how you're getting on.
Oh, I'm all right. I was just contemplating dragging myself into the kitchen to get something to eat.
Well, why don't I cook us both dinner?
Oh, I don't want to put you to any trouble.
Look, it's no trouble at all. What are friends for? I'd like to be of some help to you.
Well, thanks, Vera. I could do with the company, too.
Well, that's settled.
Thank you. Would you help yourself to a drink?
Well, I don't mind admitting. I sure need one. Would you like one?
No, not for me, thanks. The painkillers I'm taking don't mix too well with the alcohol.
Here's health. Now, what about dinner? Is there something special you'd like?
Oh, no, not really. Depends what's in the fridge, I suppose.
I'll go and see.
Well, about time. Did you bring the evening paper with you?
I'm not in the mood for that sort of nonsense.
You're not in the mood. How do you think I feel? I've just finished a double shift.
I'm well aware of that. You may also remember that I was required to do a bit of unexpected overtime last night, which turned into a couple of hours.
I'm not interested in excuses, Miss Bennett. I just want to go home.
If you can't cope with me being a few minutes late, then
That's not the point. These rosters are difficult enough to organise and maintain without having to worry about whether the staff's going to turn up for work or not, and I don't want it to happen again.
Don't let me keep you from going home, Mr. Fletcher.
You know, Jane, I've been reading in this book about the best way to fold a nappy.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, well, I didn't say you weren't. But see, if you do it like this, and you fold this corner towards you and the other two corners on the outside towards the
Look,
middle...
I can manage on my own.
Yeah, but the book says...
Look, I don't care what the book says. I'm telling you, Doreen, if you don't shut up about your stupid book, you'll be wearing it like a nappy.
Oh, come on, Jane. Doreen's only trying to help.
Well, I don't need her help. All right, Doreen, fair enough.
Yeah, but I just thought that, you know...
Look, I can manage on my own.
OK, I'll finish the beds.
Look, you're going to have to learn to mind your own business, Doreen. They're our kids. We've got to learn to bring them up our own way.
Here, here.
Would you check whether Judy's finished typing my letters, please?
Of course. Is there anything else?
No, that's all, thank you. Oh, good morning, Doreen.
Hello, Mrs. Davidson.
I was just coming to see you.
Oh, yeah?
And I was wondering how you're getting along.
Huh?
How you're settling into the maternity wing.
Oh, terrific.
Good.
Yeah, we're getting on like a house on fire, you know, me and the others. It's a real buzz being able to help with the kids and everything.
I'm delighted to hear it.
Yeah, there's no worries there, Mrs. Davidson. It's the best thing that happened to me in ages.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah, too right. You know, those books that I got off Mrs. Jackson, well, they've been a real help. You know, it's amazing how much people don't know. How is Mrs. Jackson? Have you heard?
Oh, she's coming along fine. She'll be pleased to know you've been asking after her.
Oh, good.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're settling in so well. Carry on.
Look at this bloody thing, will you? Give it a good kick. That's what B usually does.
Yeah, only I'd be careful it doesn't kick you back. It's twice your size, you know that? Hey, Liz, did you have a word with B yet? Well, what'd she say?
She reckons I ought to appeal.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I probably will. Only I don't want it to come out about Linda, though.
But you're not appealing against the verdict. I mean, you already put in a plea of guilty, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's already over and done with now. What you are appealing against is the severity of the sentence.
Better have a talk with Dave, though.
It's a good idea.
Oh, good morning, sir. Oh, Mr. Fletcher, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. I just popped in to see Sarah. Is she about?
No, I'm afraid she's not at the moment.
Well, do you have any idea where she might be?
I could give you an address where you might find her, but I doubt she'd appreciate it. She's visiting a prospective client.
Yes, well, I sort of gathered that. Do you know what time that she'll be back?
No. Later, sometime.
Thanks heaps for all your help.
Mr. Fletcher, Sarah tells me you're interested in putting some money into the business.
I might.
Your funeral.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, the business isn't exactly financially stable.
So?
It could be a bit of a risk, a bit dicey.
So it's crossing the street. It's a risk I'm prepared to take. At the moment, the money's just sitting in a bank doing nothing.
That's the best place for it.
Yeah, well, I'll be the judge of that after I talk to Sarah.
Mr. Fletcher, may I point out that Sarah and I have been business partners for a number of years.
Oh, yes, I know.
Partners. The point I'm trying to get at is that I have as much right to make decisions of this nature as she does.
Well, good for you. But I'll discuss the matter with Sarah when she gets back.
Oh, I'm bearing up, Mrs. Davidson. Of course, it was a bit of a shock at first.
Yes.
I thought the old ticket was going to give up the ghost for good for a second.
Are you sure you don't need any medication?
No. I'm as right as rain now. What I was wondering was if you could ask my solicitor to come down here and see me, Mrs. Davidson.
Of course. Are you planning an appeal?
I thought it was a good idea. What do you reckon?
I think it's a very good idea. Frankly, Lizzie, I was probably more amazed than you were. It seems to me the sentence was rather harsh.
Do you reckon I'd have a chance?
Honestly, I don't know. Mr. Bourne would have a better idea than I have. I'll arrange for him to visit you as soon as he's able.
Thank you, Mrs. Davidson.
Was that all?
Yeah, ta.
Fine. You can take Lizzie back to the laundry now, and I'll see Chrissy Latham.
All right, Mrs. Davidson. Oh, good day, Lizzie. How are you going?
Not bad. How's Elizabeth?
Oh, she's beautiful. In, Latham.
Sit down, Chrissy.
Ta.
What was it you wanted to see me about?
Well, Well, I've got a bit of a complaint.
I think I can guess what it is.
Oh, it's Doreen, Mrs. Davidson. She's driving us mental. She keeps reading to us out of all them stupid books, trying to show us how we're doing everything wrong and stuff.
I can understand how irritating that must be.
You've got no idea. We can't do nothing right as far as she's concerned.
You do realise she only has a week to go?
Yeah.
You don't think you could cope with that short time?
Well, it's not me so much, but she's really getting on Jane's nerves.
Well, I'll talk to her about it. No mother likes to think she's doing the wrong thing by her children. But you are aware she's had rather a rough time recently.
Oh, yeah. And I know she's only trying to be helpful.
Well, I'll see what I can do. But I do want her to stay there. She's very happy to be with the children.
Oh, yeah, she's beside herself. And I'm not trying to get her into trouble or nothing.
No, of course not. But if you could just be a little patient with her. Yeah. I'm sure it will help when she gets out.
But will you talk to her?
Yes, of course.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Davidson.
This part of the day I enjoy.
Yes.
Oh, no, don't say we're out of tea bags.
Oh, I think there's some more in that cupboard over there. I was wondering, I've got something important on tonight. Would you mind swapping shifts?
Swap? No, I'd rather not. But I wouldn't mind taking over your shift, you know, do a double. I could use the overtime.
Well, that suits me. It would mean I wouldn't have to come back here.
Do you want more coffee?
No, thanks. But thanks for the shift.
Well, how are you feeling?
Not too bad at all.
Better than you do, judging by the look of you.
Yeah, I am a bit whacked. I'm on late shift again tonight, too.
Well, what are you doing wasting your free time on me? Want a cup of coffee?
Yeah, I'd love one. Thanks, Meg. Well, actually, I've got a bit of spare time. I'm waiting to see somebody. Well, no offence, of course.
Of course not.
Yeah, I wanted to see her before I went to work.
Her? Well, well.
Oh, it's business. Well, not entirely business. She's an interior designer. It seems like a pretty good little business, and I'm thinking of investing some money in it, going in as a partner.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, she's pretty keen on the idea, but her business partner's trying to scare me off, telling me what a risk it is and that I'll do my dough.
Well, he'd be in a position to know. Perhaps he's giving you the right advice.
Well, I'd sooner take my advice from Sarah.
Maybe he's jealous.
What of?
Of you and Sarah.
Oh, no, his interest in Sarah is entirely business.
Well, in that case, I've just run out of advice. I wish you luck whatever you decide, between you and Sarah as well.
Thanks. Well, I'm glad to see you're looking so spry again.
Well, I'm being very well looked after.
Really?
Well, didn't you know? Vera came round last night and cooked me dinner, and she's coming again tonight.
You're kidding.
Oh, I think she enjoys having something to do, or someone to care for. Now, there's someone who could do with an outside interest, romantic or otherwise.
Well, don't look at me. I've given up on her.
Oh, she's very lonely, Jim.
Yeah, well, that may be, but I've had it up to here with Vera.
Burns is here to see you, Mrs. Davidson.
Come in. Sit down, Doreen. That will be all, thank you, Miss Bennett. There are a couple of things I want to talk to you about, Doreen. Firstly, some of the mothers in the maternity wing...
Yeah, they're getting a bit cranky, aren't they?
Well, yes, they are, rather.
Well, I suppose I would myself.
Well, they don't like to think they're in the wrong. I'm sure they don't mind a little tactful advice.
Yeah, but I get a bit carried away.
And I'm sure they appreciate your looking after the children, giving them some time to themselves. But if you could use just a little more discretion when you're offering advice.
Yeah, I'll try, Mrs. Davidson.
Good. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was your release, finding a job.
Yeah, well, I've been thinking about that ever since you mentioned it. And do you know what I reckon would be real good?
What?
Working at a hospital. Oh, not as a nurse, because I know I haven't got any training, but as a nurse's aide. Then I could see the kids sometimes in the children's wards, and I could be real useful for a change.
That's an excellent idea. I think you'd be rather good at it. I'll see what I can do.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Davidson. You're a real bottler.
Miss Bennett will see you back to the maternity wing.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm sorry I missed you earlier.
Yes, I am too. Where's your mate?
Julian? Out.
Good.
Now, you mustn't take offence at Julian.
You know, he tried to talk me out of investing in the business.
Yes, he told me.
So what's the story?
Well, it's nothing personal, Jim. It's just that we haven't known you for very long. He's a bit worried, that's all.
Well, I haven't known him for very long either.
No, of course. Oh, don't worry. He'll come round in time. These things always take time. Besides, he doesn't have the same interest in you that I have.
Well, I hope not.
And I'm hoping to get to know you very well indeed.
Are you just?
I am.
Well, that's about the best news I've had all year. How about starting your crash course and getting to know me over lunch?
Oh, I'd love to, but I can't. I'm expecting a really important call. I've got to stay in for that. I'm free for dinner, though.
Wouldn't you know it?
I see. Otherwise engaged.
Working, unfortunately.
Working? Tonight?
Yep.
Now, why on earth would a building contractor be working in the dark?
I can think of several good reasons.
So can I.
Perhaps we should look into it some other night.
I hope so. Seriously, though, why are you working at night?
Well, it's this job we have to get finished on schedule. We're working overtime in shifts.
How tedious.
And I'm beat. I'm going to go home, get some sleep.
Bring me?
Of course.
And don't worry about Julian. He'll come round.
See you soon.
Take care.
You too.
Very cosy.
Do you think so?
Yes.
So do I. And I like it.
It's obvious. I just wouldn't like you to do anything silly.
Really, Julian, I'm a grown woman.
I meant about the business.
I know what you meant.
I just think you ought to be more careful than you're being.
I know what I'm doing.
There's too much at stake, Sarah. We still don't know enough about him.
I told a putty cat a creeping up on me. Look, Elizabeth.
Hello, kids. Hey, that's a cat.
Well, of course it's a cat.
Well, where'd it come from? What's a cat doing in here?
We found it out in the garden, didn't we?
Yeah. It's filthy.
Oh, it's a bit grubby. It'll scrub up real good.
We're going to give it a bath, as long as it don't go off its brain. They hate water.
It's probably covered in germs. You know, cats shouldn't be around kids.
Look, it's not going to do them any harm. Look, it's good for them to get used to animals. Anyway, Noah's fallen in love with it. That's why I smuggled it in.
Come on, pussy.
Look, he's putting his hand in his mouth. He's going to catch something sure as eggs.
Don't panic, Doreen. We're going to give it a bath straight away. Come on, pussy.
Geez, anybody knows that the books say that cats and babies don't mix.
Oh, knock it off, Doreen. Most kids outside have got pets. Why shouldn't our kids?
Well, I suppose you know what you're doing, but I still don't like it.
Yeah, we noticed. Now, why don't you just shut up about it?
What do you think you're doing?
Signing off. What does it look like?
I realise that, but what's going on? You're supposed to be on duty.
Bailey's doing my shift tonight.
I don't know why I bother with these rosters sometimes.
Look, I found my own replacement. It's all taken care of. You've got nothing to complain about.
I'm getting a bit sick and tired of your attitude, Miss Bennett. Fletcher.
I just wanted to let the duty officer know I'll be in the building late this evening. I'm expecting a visit from the superintendent of Wentworth General Hospital.
Right you are, Mrs. Davidson.
Are you sure there's nothing I can do?
Absolutely positive.
Well, can I get you another drink?
I can manage.
Oh, I feel like an invalid.
Don't ever say that. You'll talk yourself into it. Well, if you're so anxious to do something to help, go and sit up at the dining room table. I'll be serving in a minute. It's nothing terribly exciting. Just a sort of a homemade stew.
Well, it smells terrific.
Doesn't smell too bad, even if I do say so myself.
I really appreciate this, Vera. I'm sure if I were here on my own, my menu would consist of boiled eggs, and boiled eggs.
Well, I hope this is all right. You don't think you'll need me to serve it for you, do you?
No, I'll be fine.
There you are. I'll just go and get my glass.
Looks delicious.
Good.
You'd make a terrific live-in nurse.
I've had a lot of experience.
Yes. Well, it's come in handy. Thanks.
At least you appreciate it, Meg. My mother always used to find fault.
I don't know how you did it.
She was my mother. There was no one else.
Look, if you don't want to talk about it.
She was all I had, all I knew.
It's a pity you just didn't have some avenues to escape into.
I told you I used to paint. Well, I used to think I could paint. Do you remember Kerry Vincent? Well, I did get interested again after I saw her work. She was good, I thought. It's a pity she was a criminal.
You should take it up.
I bought some painting materials the other day, as a matter of fact.
Good for you.
But I was terrible.
Rubbish.
That's exactly what it was. Rubbish.
You can't expect to be brilliant the first time. You should stick at it for a while.
And then decide I'm terrible?
Oh, Vera, don't be so down on yourself.
I suppose you're right, Meg.
Come on, Trace. Come on down the rec room.
Oh, maybe later, Lizzie.
Here, what's the matter?
Nothing.
Have you had bad news?
Oh, no, it's a postcard from Dad. He's in Adelaide on another business trip.
He must be pretty important.
He's always off somewhere doing something.
Hey, well, you see, I told you he's a very important person.
He's my father. I know he's got a good business and he earns good money. It's just that I hardly ever see him. Even when I was little, I just wish that he could have been home more.
I expect he would have liked that too. But you can't always do what you like, not when you have to earn a living.
I suppose.
Come on, let's go down the rec room.
Oh, Lizzie.
Oh, Dor, what are you doing here? They'll skin you if they catch you.
Yeah, well, I've got to talk to you because I don't know what to do.
Hey.
Well, they got this cat.
Who?
Jane and Chrissy.
In maternity?
Yes.
Strike a light, the silly buggers.
You see, I know, because in these books I read where it's dangerous to have them with babies. But they won't take any notice of me. What am I going to do?
Well, I don't know, Dor.
Well, I suppose I could tell a screw, but then they'd reckon I was only lagging because they don't think it's dangerous.
Crikey, love,
Why aren't you on the maternity wing, Burns?
Oh, I was just having this talk to Lizzie, Mr. Fletcher.
If I catch you in here again, you'll be off buy-up for a week. Now, get moving. The rest of you, get to the rec room. Come on.
Thank you for coming so quickly, Frank.
It's always a pleasure, Erica.
Please sit down.
Thank you. Well, now, what can I do for you?
I need your help.
In what way?
I have a prisoner I'd like you to help me place. She's had a run of extremely bad luck.
Well, they all have, haven't they?
Well, in this case, it happens to be true. Circumstances have been against her most of her life. Honestly, the girl has a heart of gold, but she has the misfortune to do the wrong thing and always for the right reasons.
Sounds like she could be a major asset in any hospital. I take it that's where you expect me to place her.
Well, I'm fairly sure this could be her niche in life. She has a marked sense of loyalty and responsibility.
Look, Erica, I can't and won't make Wentworth General a repository for ex-criminals.
In my opinion, Doreen Burns is a worthwhile exception. Given the right opportunities, I am positive she could have a successful role to play in society.
You certainly know how to stretch a friendship to the limit, don't you?
Don't you trust my judgment?
Well, of course.
Look, honestly, I don't mean to use our friendship, Frank, but unfortunately I have no other alternative. At present, we have no social worker, and Doreen is due for release at the end of the week. So you can see how desperate I am. I don't want to turn her out onto the street.
All right, you've won me. To think about it, at least. But make no mistake, if we weren't such friends, I wouldn't give it a second thought.
Thank you, Frank.
You know, Meg, that is exactly how it happened. They all...
Oh, who in the world can that be?
No. You just stay right there and relax. I'll get it. Oh, I suppose you'd better come in.
How are you feeling? I'm sorry I'm so late.
Oh, nice to see you. I thought you'd still be in Adelaide.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to be away from Tracey for too long, so I wound up everything. Not interrupting anything.
No, of course not. Vera's just cooked me a lovely meal. I was just going to bed, as a matter of fact. They're beautiful flowers.
Well, look, don't let me keep you up. I just called in to see how you were.
I'm glad to see you.
Well, actually, I was just leaving. I'll rinse this glass and a couple of other things.
Oh, look, I can do that if you like.
Vera, I really do appreciate you coming. It was a lovely dinner.
Look at this silly cat, look. Look at its legs up in the air.
Oh, God. Have a look at the prophet of doom, would you?
Cheer up, Doreen. We've given it a wash and everything. It's probably cleaner than the lot of us put together.
Yeah.
Oh, you're never satisfied, are you?
I never said a word.
Yeah, and you'd better not either.
Hey?
Well, if one of the screws should just happen to wander in here and find it, we'd know who to put the finger on, wouldn't we?
Don't be so stupid. I'm going to the laundry.
You keep your mouth shut, Doreen.
Look, I've already told you what I think. It's dangerous for the little ones, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and we cleaned it up so you can stop worrying about all the little creepy crawlies.
Yeah, well, I bet its claws are still real grotty, and if it scratches one of the kids...
Oh, piss off, will ya? Come on, little...
Good morning, Miss Bennett.
Good morning.
Are you all right?
Of course.
I have a visit scheduled with Tracey.
You sign in over there. I'll get her. I'll send another officer to collect you.
G'day, Dor. What you doing?
Making a rhubarb pie. What do you reckon?
Well, I reckon it's good being out of the joint just now, one with the old bee being away.
Yeah, well, I don't reckon maternity's that hot either.
You mean you're getting sick of those screaming kids?
Oh, the kids are okay. It's the mothers. They're mad as snakes, if you ask me. Them and their stupid rotten cat.
They still got it. I would have thought the screws would have found it by now.
Well, they haven't, and I bloody well hope they don't.
Why?
Well, you know we'll get blamed for lagging on them, don't you?
Oh, yeah, you made it a bit tough for yourself last time, didn't you?
Yeah, but I didn't mean any harm.
Oh, no, you didn't, Dor.
Well, what am I going to do about it, Lizzie?
I don't know. Why don't you just try and get rid of it yourself?
You two treat this place like a holiday camp, don't you? What are you doing here, Doreen?
I'm on my way to the laundry, Mr. Fletcher.
Yeah, me too.
You were supposed to have been there in the first place.
Call of nature, Mr. Fletcher.
On your way, Doreen. Not you, Lizzie.
Why not?
Well, your solicitor's here.
Is he?
Yep.
Oh.
Are they treating you all right?
Yes.
You're within your rights to complain if they don't. You know that, don't you?
There are no problems, really.
Good.
I got your card.
Oh, good. It's pretty crummy. It's the only one I could find.
Well, all places look the same on postcards.
Yeah, well, they are pretty much.
I didn't even know you were going away until I got the card.
Yeah, well, I got back as soon as I could. Trace, look, I suppose I've been pretty selfish over the years, and I'd like a chance to make it up to you.
What do you mean?
I want you to know that I'll always be here whenever you need me.
You know I need you.
We're going to be all right, Trace. I've arranged the business so there'll be no more traveling.
Seriously? Oh, Dad, that would be great.
We'll really settle down somewhere, here in town.
Just start again, will you?
Well, when I came back from the laundry...
No, from when Chrissy came in. I think your part in this has been well established now, Doreen.
Well, Doreen was screaming.
What, when you came in?
No, before that. When I came in, she was giving her mouth to mouth. Well, at first I thought she'd gone mad, and then I saw the cat going on like a maniac.
Well, I suppose I chucked it pretty hard, Mr. Fletcher, but it gave me a hell of a fright.
How'd that damn cat get in here in the first place?
Well...
Mr. Fletcher? She'll be fine.
Are you sure?
Positive. But just to reassure you, we'll have some tests done.
Chrissy, would you please explain how that cat happened to be in here?
Look, there's nothing to explain, Mr. Fletcher. We found the cat in the garden, Jane and me. Well, we just thought it would make a nice pet for the kids, that's all.
I thought you and Colton would have more sense.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's no good apologising to me. Just be thankful that you're still alive.
Oh, Doreen, I feel a real idiot. I wish I'd listened to you about the blasted cat.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I was going on like a real goose. It's no wonder you gave me the boot.
I'm ever so glad you found her and not me. I wouldn't have known what to do. I probably would have done me block, killed the bloody cat. I would never have thought of mouth to mouth.
Oh, it wasn't anything much. I read it in one of them books. Hey, maybe there is something in it after all.
What?
Reading.
Oh, good. Send that up to me later. Mr. Baldwin.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Davidson.
You're bright and early.
Yes, I want to get the appeal lodged as soon as possible.
What are Lizzie's chances?
I'd say they were extremely high.
Well, I thought the sentence was rather severe myself.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
How does Lizzie feel about it?
Well, I've told her that I'm very confident. I hope I've buoyed her spirits.
Good. Thank you for being so prompt.
Not at all, Mr. Davidson. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Good morning, Miss Bennett.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Davidson.
Julie not in?
She's just having coffee. I'm sitting in for her.
Oh, fine. Is everything under control?
Yes, except there was some trouble in maternity.
Oh, no, not Doreen and her books.
I don't think so. Mr. Fletcher's handling it. He did have to call in the nursing sister.
Well, who was hurt?
Well, I'm not certain anyone was. I'm sure Mr. Fletcher will let us know in due course. It's all rather garbled at the moment. Something to do with a cat.
A what?
A cat.
Oh, I don't believe this. As soon as possible, I want to see Mr. Fletcher and everyone concerned in my office.
Meg, it's Vera.
Hello, Vera. How are you?
I've just rung to let you know about dinner tonight.
Look, you mustn't feel obliged in any way.
The only thing is tonight I'm rostered on for a double shift.
Oh, well, please don't worry yourself, honestly.
Look, what I thought was I'd pop round and fix a meal and then come straight back to work.
Vera, you mustn't. You'll knock yourself out, and then we'd have 2 invalids instead of 1.
Look, it's no trouble.
Vera, please. Honestly, I'll be all right.
I see. Is Bob Morris coming around again?
No, of course not.
Well, it certainly sounds that way.
Well, I don't know. But perhaps he might call round. I really don't know.
You'll be all right without me, then?
Vera?
I don't want to dwell on this. Frankly, I think the terrible shock has been reprimand enough, both for your foolish actions and your breach of regulations. I won't keep you any longer. Elizabeth obviously had a very bad shock and probably needs you. You may go.
Thanks, Mrs. Davidson.
I want a word with you, Doreen. Just one other thing. Doreen's books turned out to be very useful, more than any of us anticipated. I think we all owe her an apology.
Oh, that's all right, Mrs. Davidson. I reckon I must have been driving them potty. They had every right to complain.
Yes, well, I hope that the incident has taught us all to be more tolerant. Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Sit down, Doreen.
Thanks.
I wanted to congratulate you. It was a very dangerous situation.
Oh, anyone would have done it, I reckon.
Perhaps, but I understand that mouth-to-mouth resuscitation with an infant is extremely difficult. Good work.
Thanks.
Of course, the bonus is that it will help you get a job as a nursing aide.
Oh, do you think so? I hadn't thought of that. Have you heard anything?
Yes, I've had a word with someone, but to date I've had no reply.
Well, when will you hear something, do you know?
Well, I'm not sure, but as soon as I do, I'll let you know.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Davidson.
Well, that's all, Doreen. Thank you.
hospital. May I help you?
Dr. Henderson, please. Erica Davidson here.
Good morning, Erica.
Hello, Frank. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. But I haven't made any decision yet, so don't ask.
Well, there's something I think you should know. Doreen Anderson, the girl in question, saved a baby from suffocating this morning.
Oh, really? I gather you're saying that this makes your girl a qualified nurse.
Not in the least. But I would have thought it could work in her favour.
All right, Erica, I'll talk to her, if it'll make you happy.
Good. When?
Tomorrow, all right?
Thank you, Frank.
See you tomorrow, then. Bye.
Goodbye.
Come on. Come on. What a good girl. Where's the bunny, Elizabeth?
Burns, hate to spoil the fun, but Mrs. Davidson's here to see you.
Oh, Mrs. Davidson's come to see us. It's so important.
Oh, so this is Elizabeth Latham.
Yeah, Chrissy's baby.
Well, she's obviously quite happy with you. What a sweet little girl.
I think she likes you, Mrs. Davidson.
Yes. Well, I've spoken to the superintendent of Wentworth General about your desire to work with children.
Oh, yeah? How'd you go?
Very well, I think. Especially when he heard how you saved Elizabeth after that unfortunate incident. There's nothing definite, but he has agreed to see you.
Oh, gee, thanks, Mrs. Davidson. You know, I've been thinking, though. Hospitals are real big places. Do you think I'll fit in?
Well, why don't I take you to meet Dr. Henderson tomorrow, and then you can judge for yourself?
Oh, that'd be real good, Mrs. Davidson. I think you brought me luck, Elizabeth.
G'day.
Hi, Lizzie.
You look a bit chirpier than you was last night.
Dad came for a visit.
Did he? I thought he was in Adelaide.
No, he came back early.
Good on him. I knew he cared about you. Guess what? I just been to see my solicitor, and he reckons I got a very good chance of winning me appeal.
Oh, Lizzie, that's wonderful.
Too right. Everything's going to work out. I told you had to be optimistic, didn't I?
Yeah. Dad's going to stop travelling. He said we're going to be together all the time when I get out.
Oh, that's beaut, Trace.
What are you doing in here, Birdsworth?
Just on my way to the laundry, Miss Bennett.
Well, get moving.
I'm going. See you, Trace.
And you can wipe that look off your face, Morris.
Do you have to be so harsh to everyone?
Harsh? Do you expect to be treated with kid gloves in here?
No, of course not.
I'm only carrying out my duties the way they ought to be carried out. You're going to have to get used to prison officers and their little idiosyncrasies, Morris.
I hope I won't be in here that long.
Oh, I'm not talking about in here. I'm talking about your home life.
What?
Your father's seeing an awful lot of Mrs. Jackson lately. Bit of a shock, I suppose. When you're inside to find your father's having an affair with one of the prison officers.